Hey guys, this is Voices of XYZ. My name's Elmin, and today we're going to be talking about our younger years following our college episode, which you guys can listen to. Today we're going to be talking about our K through 12, some of the fashion trends, the cool things to do at lunch, favorite subjects, and then other trends at the time. Let's get to it. I'll start this one off. I'll do the one that people always ask me. What was your guys' favorite subject in school?
You go first, Chris.
Okay. Well, so I would say if we're talking real subjects, math was probably my favorite. But of course, me being the music guy, as you guys know, that band was probably, band was really my favorite. Of course, that's what I enjoyed going to the most.
The whole time? Your entire K through 12, it was band?
Well, sorry, I guess it would have been fourth or the end of fourth through 12. Yeah.
What'd you play?
I started off on trumpet and then, but quickly was kind of coerced into trombone. And then, of course, then when I was 12 and I really got caught up in it, then I learned, I played piano in the jazz band too. So.
Oh man, so I hated band. It was the worst thing for me.
Same.
See, I knew you guys would say that.
Yeah, my mom forced me to do it in fourth through sixth grade, and then finally I must have just complained enough where she let it go. But I was forced into trombone as well, and the reason was that my grandpa had an old trombone from when he was in high school, and this thing was a heavy duty copper and real copper and silver trombone, and it looked, I mean, this is middle school, and stuff, and so looks are basically you live and die by them, right?
Yeah.
So my trombone was not gold, and so I was weird, and it smelled funny too because again it was silver and copper, and it had this really jank ass case. It was so heavy. I was a weak ass kid, and I could hardly carry this thing. It was ginormous, and everyone made fun of me, and I sucked at it too.
Oh my God, Ben, your story is so much like mine. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I can relate. I can relate because I'm sorry, I just hijacked your story, but so I started as trumpet because that's really what I wanted to play. But there were so many trumpets we couldn't fit in the row. All of us were scrunched up and there were just too many trumpets. And my parents didn't want to pay for the trumpet because it's expensive to rent it. And so I had an uncle who had this old trombone with this ginormous case. Now you got to tell me, was your trombone's case fake alligator?
No, it was
okay.
No.
All right. Well, so Matt, you talked about, looks being everything. Well, here I was with this ginormous case, being a little kid, carrying this on the bus, and I couldn't carry it very easily, and I was bumping into things. And not only that, but it was fake alligator, purple color.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, at least mine was a normal color. It was absolutely ginormous, but it was at least normal color. But it was also my grandpa's original case for it too, and we were super poor. Again, that's a theme going to be in all of my stories, but we were super poor, and the handle actually had broken off, I don't know, a long time ago. And so my mom took a piece of string, almost I don't know, construction string, and literally tied the handle to it. So not only was this thing breaking my back, but it was just murdering my hands to carry it. It was frayed, the string frayed very quickly, and was just grinding against my hands too.
Navy SEAL training case. Oh my God.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I got so much flack for it.
Like I said, I can relate so much.
That's crazy. For me, the subject changed so many times, but at first it was math because it was all about being super fast and solving your times tables because I'm just competitive, so I thought that was really fun. And then I stopped I have ADHD, so I stopped like paying attention more and more. So then I got really bad at math. So then I started switching to like history. And I think like history was like it all the way up to like college even. Like it was just so fun to learn. I think I remember just talking about like I think U.S. history was my favorite because it was like the same thing every single time, but like each year was like got more and more deeper into it, which I thought was really cool.
As far as my actual favorite, like I think I was all over the place. It was mostly like whatever I was getting a good grade in was my favorite, and sort of like, history would be like super interesting for me. I'd love going to that class when it was like Renaissance or medieval or European history, and then it was like we'd get into like American history in the late 1800s and early 19 hundreds when it's all like the jungle shit and it's like really like dark and like all the pictures are like gray, and it's just like that's just like non-appealing to me. And so I'd just be like, oh, I hate this class, and so then I'd hate history. But I'd say largely it was math, and then anything with computers too is like,
Oh yeah,
we had like typing class, and it was like I was playing MMOs, since I was 9, and I was playing Warcraft 2 since I was like 4 or 5, and it was like I was just like I was blowing the teachers out of the water. I was like the fastest typer in the school,
yeah. While in StarCraft typer and gamers are like always the fastest typers I've noticed.
Yeah.
You guys, your clicks per minute CPM is insane.
So I'm curious about that now. So when you guys, I'm assuming you both took typing, I mean, or keyboarding, they probably called it.
Yeah.
It was office skills or something, because it was like we also learned how to print paper and like go open Word up.
Yeah. Mine at first was mostly like just keyboards. Like I remember we had to like literally memorize a keyboard too. You'd put your fingers up, and then you'd like put them on the home row,
Home row, yep.
And then it after that, I think like maybe 6th grade or 7th grade, finally like we had gotten computers, like enough computers, I guess, dedicated where we got off of like Apple, and then it was like, okay, then we could like use Word and stuff like that, so it finally turned into that. But I guess maybe I just don't remember having earlier stuff like that.
I just think it's crazy. They were like prepping us for like a lifetime of being in a cubicle, but in like 2nd grade, but putting me in an office class.
Oh my God. 2nd grade?
2nd grade, yeah. I remember
2nd grade.
It was in the library, and then it would lead up to library time. So we were there for like 2 hours. It was really fun.
Wow. Yeah, see, they didn't offer anything like that. We had typing, but it wasn't until you were like a junior or senior that you really took those. And of course, we didn't, like I think I said before, we only had a couple computers at the school, and they were in the back of the math classroom. So everything was on those old clunky IBM Selectric typewriters, and you had to use the whiteout and all that kind of stuff. It was fun.
You guys want to hear a story about like the web design class I took?
Yeah.
So for this web design class, it was my junior and senior year was web design 1 and 2. The teacher, we were teaching us like literally pure HTML websites and like decorating them with CSS. And so the teacher didn't know how to teach like web design at all. So for our final project, you could like just make a website. That was the only thing on the paper. So I learned how to like include JavaScript and have like your mouse like moving, and then like the background, a bunch of dots, and they like connect on the mouse as it goes through. And then she thought that, and I was like, she like loved it so much. Come web design 2, I'm a senior, and I have like maybe like 1 or 2 classes a day. So, and we had the first few weeks I was showing up on time, and then she like wanted me to like add more courses for like web design 1 to like do like newer stuff. And then so I got to that point where like in the second half of the year that when I was there, I was arriving like 30, 45 minutes early, just walking in there, and like nothing was happening. And I think it came pretty bad because I know it was the last few weeks I would just like go and like get some coffee before class, really enjoy myself. And I come in with like 5 minutes left, and she just wouldn't say anything because I kind of wrote the classes for her.
Nice. Yeah, I had a teacher. I had kind of that experience too my senior year. I had a teacher where I have no idea like what the software was, but it was essentially like a what would you call now? It was like really like a server based game, but only the class like would connect to it. It's essentially like a local area network game. But he had like a dedicated server running it. But it was like this like we were sequestered into like a town, and everyone had like a convenience store in the town. You had to like place items in the store, and place them correctly, and we kind of learned. It was like a marketing class, so we had to kind of learn about product placement, and place where things go like in a store and how to get sales. And like towards the end, like I had dominated the entire rest of the class so badly that like he was just like, hey, you don't have to like come in, like anymore. Like you can just do like study hall or something like for this class. And like my shop, like in my group of like 5 or 6 kids, it was like my revenue was like pulling in like, I don't know, like 5 times everyone else's combined, and it's like everyone else is like super pissed at me because like you could also put up like billboards in the city too, and like I just put billboards, like I had so much money, I just put billboards like around everyone else's stuff, and so like no one could even get new customers or anything either. It was really funny.
Do you know what it was called? Like, I want to see what it looked like.
It was extremely like proto, it hardly had like a graphics concept to it. It was very much like, I think it was like black and white for the most part. It was like very hand drawn, stuff. So
still sounds crazy. Fun.
So like for lunchtime, guys, what was the snack? Like, what was the snack like that you brought in? And then like, what was the snack that like if you brought in that was like really freaking cool?
I remember all through elementary, I couldn't stand the cafeteria food, so I just brought a peanut butter sandwich every day. I think that's what I had for
no jelly?
6 years. Peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, okay.
Peanut butter and grape jelly or rhubarb jelly. But I think that's all I survived on, I think, for 6 years.
Any milk?
Yes. They had to buy the milk that was there, or sometimes I brought the thermos. But this was back in the day. I don't think this is an thing anymore, but back then your thermos was kind of glass inside, and so if you dropped it, it broke, and you had to throw it away. And Whoa. So it's like I was always dropping thermoses. So I think they just stopped giving me thermoses, and I had to buy milk at the cafeteria.
Were you a white milk kid?
Yep.
Okay. Did they have chocolate milk?
What's that?
Did they have chocolate?
I don't remember them offering it actually in elementary. It might have been, I don't remember them offering it. I just remember regular old.
Was it A&E?
It was, yes.
Same.
Yeah,
Ben?
same. Yep.
Nice. Strawberry was there like every once a month, I think.
Oh.
That's wild. So like for me, again, the theme of the word of the day is poor. So like I always envied the kid that could bring cold lunch,
cold lunch. Yeah, that's what they called it. Cold or hot lunch. Yeah.
I never ever brought a cold lunch ever in my life. And I would always stare at the kids longingly, especially when I was younger, and look at their or those like Crustables or literally anything like that, where it's like, oh my God, you are the coolest kid ever because you have, this cold lunch, right?
That's interesting, because I remember clearly thinking that because I was bringing the cold lunch, I looked like I was poor. It's like
there's levels to it.
Yeah,
there's levels to it though.
Okay.
See, I didn't even know this. I didn't even know there was tiers because I was never even in the cold lunch group at all.
I guess the Gen Z like tier list like stuff started earlier in our elementary school years, but like my parents were, when I was like in elementary school, my parents were like poorer, like, and so we weren't like poor enough to get like the free lunch from the school, so it was too expensive to get school lunch. So I would bring like cold lunches, but they were like either like leftovers or like bologna and sandwich or something. And then the next tier up with that is like you have that, but you also bring in some like chips and stuff. And the top tier was like the Spider-Man lunchbox or something with the ice pack in it, and everything's in Tupperware, and there's like mom with like a heart saying I love you, have a good day, like that stuff, right? The emotional support from a parent, very important stuff, all there. And that was top tier. But it goes like like bad cold lunches, the hot lunch of the day. Sometimes it was, there was good ones. There's like pizza and stuff, so those were really good. And then like level 2 cold lunch, and then like level 3, like your parents love you cold lunch.
Wow. I don't think it was that complicated when I was there.
Maybe this is all in my head. Like,
there wasn't a class system around the cold lunch when I was.
Was the pizza you had, Elmine? Was it like the square pizza?
Yes, and it was good. I don't care what anyone says, it was good.
No, I don't think in my school at least, like that square pizza would come out and people would be lining up for seconds and thirds, like especially in high school. Like this school, I swear to God, like kids were more behaved on the square pizza days. I swear to God.
Everyone showed up in a uniform, act like a British kid.
Right. Like, if this was like a microcosm of like the American society, like crime rate went way down, on square pizza days.
Oh my
We
God.
didn't have the square pizza. We had what they called pizza boats, and it was like basically the same idea, but it was on like part of a baguette, kind of like bread. So the pizza boat.
I remember it was a huge thing. So in my my final year of high school, Obama had just been elected, and Michelle Obama was very much into like healthy
Oh yeah, yeah.
lunches for kids, right? And like when it was like this big like drama, we had like all of these like snack machines, vending machines like in the lunchroom, and they were like taking them all out, and like all the kids are like boo boo, but it's like I mean kids would go up to there, and put $6, $7, $8 into there, and like just it was all just chips and Skittles and Snickers, and like they'd get like the Gatorades, and like it wasn't just like a little what was it, 8 ounce of milk. It'd be like get like the 16 ounces of Nestle, like it's just like the worst
sugar milk water.
Yeah, it's like just the worst stuff ever. And so it was like in hindsight, it was like, yeah, like kids should absolutely not have that every day for lunch, so
Yeah, I was my class. I was 6 when Obama got elected. So, we were like just starting out in elementary school, and the cold lunches were like the Michelle Obama lunches. And I remember, like this few times I did get it. Since I can't eat pork, so like most of the options were kind of pork based. So I got like the second option they called it. That's usually for teachers and stuff. And there was like these like beautiful salads for a while, just for that 1 year. I guess it was too expensive, but like they were really good salads. So I do remember like that happening. But yeah, like people were like, oh my God, I wish we were like, the older kids were talking about they used to have like little Debbie's at lunch and stuff like that,
Wow. It's crazy.
Speaking of tier lists, the one thing I do remember, there was a couple of years where we were so poor that we like qualified for the like free school lunches. And actually, if you got a free school lunch in my school, and this was like early middle school, like late elementary school for me, you were actually like cooler than the kids who got like had to pay for their lunch. Everyone was like, wow, you get a free lunch. That is so cool. And like,
yeah, nobody understood it.
Yeah, right. And like, that was so cool. And then also like there was like a separate line because you didn't have to like pay for your lunch. You could just like go and get it, and then like you didn't have to stand in line and then like get checked out. It was like, wow, like you don't even have to stand in line. It's basically like VIP,
You're like the Disney people with the quick pass or whatever it is. Where you can just
right. Yeah, all the kids are like staring longingly, and it's like, wow, like he gets to go on the ride, and it's like I'm there with like my broken ass leg. Well, it doesn't really pay off.
Did you guys have a teacher in your like lunchroom that would like monitor you guys? Was that like a thing that everyone had? Usually like all the teachers, they're like in each corner like a prison.
Yeah, we had one that was consistently. It was the same one K through 6. Yep.
It was the worst because if you got sat next to a teacher, you couldn't like talk loud or like say bad words. I remember everyone would try to sit as far away from the teachers as possible.
Well, I don't think I said this before, but my mom taught K through 6 and my dad taught 7 through 12. So I knew all the teachers that like came to my house and for
Mm.
parties and things. And I always had to be on my best behavior all the time. I couldn't get away with anything.
Were they nice to you though when you're going through their classes?
Yeah, for the most part, there were a couple of them who were like, "Oh, I'm disappointed with you." You know, they held me to a higher standard usually. So
Yeah, I was like a completely like forgettable kid, I guess, because like I never like I don't even remember any of the teachers like in the lunchroom at all. Like obviously I was just like something they just did not care about. Especially like in my early high school, like like ninth and 10th grade, I actually sat with like a bunch of girls. Like I was the only guy that sat with a bunch of girls. And it was actually I was like dating one of them, you know, and
Same.
so like it was totally like I was kind of already I was a super loser, like super like low tier in the cast of, you know, the complex social things of school. But
Yeah, more complex than actual life.
yeah, right. And so like I was a super loser, so like no one even cared. I'm sure all the teachers knew, and it was always like there was always those problem kids that were always like picking fights. Or I remember my senior year, like a kid literally like took his entire tray and just like threw it across the entire lunchroom. You know, like those types of things. Like I was such like, you know, I was a little guppy in the ocean of problems on the lunchroom, so no one ever cared about me.
Yeah, I did a complete 180 going from elementary to middle school. I was like kind of little bullied in elementary school, and then come middle school, I don't know what I did. I must have either like watched some YouTube videos or like looked up how to make friends before going to middle school. And I don't know, like the first few days, I was just talkative and like social, and like I don't know, it cut off. I was really popular for like 2 years, and then I moved schools. But I was back down. Yeah, and it was interesting being on the other scale, like looking back and forth.
But that when you went to middle school, like you said, was that like a whole different building with mostly different kids though?
Yeah,
starting over.
Yeah, so I went to like the Des Moines schools. There's like a bunch of elementary schools, so we all went to the same middle school. But it was like a few middle schools would like, or a few elementary schools would like send all their kids to this middle school. So there's a lot of new people. I also stopped having a buzz cut and grew up, so that also gonna help.
Yeah, I was also bullied relentlessly in elementary school, really badly, and a lot of that was because my parents were teachers, I think, or the kids in my class had older siblings who were in my dad's class, and they were failing or something, so they were taking it out on me.
Oh
yeah, it
man,
was really bad. It was really bad. And now I was going to ask you guys, like, okay, so I came from a really small town. And I had one of the bigger classes around, and I think we graduated with 42. So how about you guys? What was your class size?
I should look it up because I know it's a high number.
89ers?
I was like 89 or so, and so it was, yeah, we kind of knew each other. It was just large enough where you could, you know, kind of be at the margins and still have, you know, friends. There was sort of like someone for everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. But did you pretty much see the same, those 80-ish people? Were you pretty much with them like K through 12? Well, you moved a little bit though. You moved.
Yeah,
around.
I moved all the time, so like
Okay.
mine was super weird. My old experience.
I think I would have liked that better because I mean, nothing against them. A lot of them, I like, you're friends with them now and they're good people, but it's like I knew those 40 people, K through 12. You know, we did everything together, K through 12.
For my high school, ours were split up between 10th through 12th grade, and there was like 1,300 kids.
Oh my god.
And the kids in my grade, I feel like I knew everyone just because I grew up with always having like social media, so we'd always like friend each other, and so you like know who's who. You're always like, you know, checking Instagram every single day, so you always see posts and stuff. Of course, I didn't know everyone very closely, but I could like look through the hallways and I'm like, I know you, like that kind of stuff.
But surely, like, it was more like I know you because I know you online, but like sure there's kids like you never even interact with, but like you knew them, right?
Yeah, I'm like I know you. I know I know how your family looks. You post them. I know your vacation is like. You knew everything about everyone. So like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was cool because I felt like I knew everyone. So if I was in a class and I sat next to someone, I could like sort of start a conversation.
Yeah, see, I kind of like yearned, like in my mind, I feel like, oh, that would have been so awesome for me because like I constantly moved, and it's like I would come into these, um, like I even moved at the end of 10th grade, and then moved to another high school, and it was like basically came in. No one knew who I was. I didn't know who anyone was besides like 2 or 3 kids, and it's basically like a complete fresh start, like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about these people, and it's like I only got like 2 years to figure it out.
Yeah, I think I was pretty on top of my classes moving from elementary middle school, but when I switched schools, I don't know if between Waukee and Des Moines if they like had a different where like one was ahead, one was behind, but like I think it was either I was too worried about making friends to focus on school, but I feel like that's when I started really slacking off and playing a lot of video games. So a lot of correlations there.
So I'm curious, what did recess look like for you guys in elementary?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved indoor recess because you'd have like 30 board games that would like roll in on a cart that you could play with and stuff. And then some kids later on had like their iPods and like iPhones, so you could like go ahead and play like video games together on that. That was kind of fun.
So you could choose what to stay inside. That was an option.
Oh no, sorry, like the weather depending.
Oh, okay, that's what it was saying for me. Okay.
And you had like iPods and board games and stuff.
Yeah, in 4th grade, everyone had an iPhone. I had like an Android phone, but we'd all play Clash of Clans.
Wow.
That's crazy. Like, oh man, like we would literally get put in a gym and like all you had was like basketballs and like jump ropes and stuff. That was it. I hated recess like in middle school because like that was it. Like it was like you'd basically like go to lunch and then it was like right after lunch you'd go to recess and then it was like basketballs and jump ropes and like I didn't like any of that and I didn't really have any friends either, so it was like I basically just sit there for 20-30 minutes. I'd maybe get lucky that the kids weren't playing, there was a open basketball hoop and I shoot by myself, or something.
Yeah, we had the old school slides and swings and the monkey bars and the merry-go-round and teeter-totter. That's what we were with. That's what we had to work with.
Yeah, you totally reminded me. I totally forgot this, Ben. So each teacher would have their indoor recess, but any kid from any grade could go to the gym and play in the gym during indoor recess too. I totally forgot about that. And there'd always be like one side of the gym is all like the 4th and 5th graders, and it's like the 3rd graders, and the kindergartners are with the teachers over there. I remember that. Wow. But outdoor it was like basketball, soccer, football. The tetherball is my favorite. The ball that you hit around the pole is really fun. And then like the jungle gym and stuff. What was the worst teacher you had?
Oh, jeez. Well, I have to be careful. Like I said.
Still know.
You can use a fake name.
But I can't say anything. I'm gonna plead the 5th on this one. Sorry.
The worst one I probably had was my 8th grade like math teacher, and this was I feel like I loved math, but this is one of them where I was like I hate math, and he just like he might have been like okay at his job, but like I wasn't doing that well in the class. It was like we were finally learning like trigonometry and stuff in 8th grade a little bit, and I like wasn't getting it, and a lot of the class wasn't either, but like this guy was just like he was just a dick. Like he was just straight up a dick. Like like people would like get stuff wrong and he'd be like, well, I just taught that yesterday, or something like that. It's like, damn, dude. Like,
damn, as a teacher?
Yeah, it's like, we're 12, man. Like, relax. And he was like kind of an older guy too. And he had like, I mean, he just kind of, you know, and I hate to make fun of someone's face or anything like that, but he just had one of them faces where it was like he was like super tired, like he had huge,
like a bulldog.
yeah, he had like huge bags under his eyes, and he just like kind of looked scary too, and it was just like, dog, like you just, I don't know, you're just in the wrong profession or something. Like,
Yeah,
he
That's
just
what
was
he does to
not
you.
seem happy.
Oh my god, yeah. I forgot teachers look like that because I only remember the good ones. But the worst one that I had, my sister set me up for failure. My sister got out of school suspension in art class. But she was a really good student. But this art teacher and her just were not friends. Okay. I don't know if she I don't know what she did. I totally forgot. Oh no, she like refused to do some assignment or something. It was like, I think that's what it was. But so I'm going into it like 6 years later. She's 6 years older than me. And teacher's like, do you have a sister named me? I'm like, oh yeah, it's my sister. He's like, okay. And then from then on out, it was always bad grades on art assignments, or like I could not talk at all. I was always one getting picked out. I'm like, oh my god, dude, your op is a sixth grader. It's not that serious.
Okay, so I will tell you, I'll keep the name anonymous, but there was one that picked on me. And of course, like I said, most of these teachers had K through 12 in some shape or fashion, right? And so this person decided from an early, from like third or fourth grade, that I was a troublemaker. I was a disappointment. And anytime like there was a group of us doing something wrong, she would just call me out, be like, I'm disappointed with you, Chris Snook. And then it got to the point where there was a kid that was bullying me in one of her classes when I was in junior high, and he would just we had assigned seats, so I couldn't move, and he would just kick my desk over. He would knock stuff off, kick my desk over.
What?
And I mean, he would grab my head and put it into his crotch, that kind of stuff. Like we're talking. No,
Whoa.
Chris, this is insane.
This is nothing. That stuff happened every single day, guys. Back then, that was, nobody talked about, even caring about that kind of stuff then. Yeah, no.
For the FBI agent listening to this,
no, it was, it was looking by today's standards. You would be shocked if you saw half the things there. I just told you one small incident there.
Did you ever get clapped with a ruler at all? They still do that when you were in school?
I heard stories in elementary that the principal did have a paddle on his wall, and I did hear or know of some kids that really did something bad that did get paddled, but there was no rulers on your hands or anything like that. But this guy that was bullying me in this class, like I said, he just kept kicking my desk over or whatever. And I should have probably had more wherewithal and, said, hey, he's bothering me. Can you do something about this? But I was just like, the teachers kept saying, we're knowing everything you're doing. We know what you're doing. So I'm just like, well, she knows and she doesn't care. But finally, she yelled at me because he was bullying me and pushing me over, but she considered me disrupting the class. And so I got in trouble. She told my dad, and then he pulled me out of my semester test and yelled at me in the hallway. So that is my least favorite teacher right there.
Wow. I did not, on one hand, I can count how many times I witnessed physical bullying throughout K through 12. That is insane. What about you, Ben? Was there a lot of bullying like that?
Oh yeah, I was bullied horribly. Actually, it was okay. So it was kind of weird. So up until my parents got divorced when I was 7, I was I don't know, I'd say mid-tier, high-tier popular. I was pretty rich, and so that was okay. Both my popularity and my economic status both sunk to basically bottom barrel.
It's an oligarchy, man.
Right. And I got bullied basically from 4th grade or 5th grade until 9th grade ish. And I sort of had that same thing that you did, Elmine, where I came into 9th grade and all of a sudden I just did not care anymore. And I started I don't know, just acting I was sort of owning my unpopularness, people, and it actually started making me kind of okay. And so like in high school, I finally like started like bucking that trend. But I actually had a kid. I had like multiple sets of bullies like bullying me, where like one kid actually like pushed me down and broke my wrist. One time I had
Wow.
to like go to the doctor and obviously like get a cast on. And then another set like would call me like the R word constantly. And they actually would like at recess time they would like throw the balls at me and stuff. I mean it was terrible. Like if anyone's listening to this and like bullying is like terrible. Like it is a
This is crazy,
yes, it is
guys.
a very pervasive thing in school, and definitely do your best to stamp it out because it like messed me up, like it was
Yeah.
I hated going to school and it cross-cut everything my
Yep.
entire life for years.
I totally relate to that because I think the worst incident for me was I was about fourth grade and probably half the class had trapped me in the baseball dugout and started throwing rocks at me and just yelling insults at me.
This
Sure.
is from a Disney movie. What?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. No, that's it. And like I said, the incident that I mentioned earlier, and you guys kind of gasped. That was just like I said, that was like multiple times a day. Those kind of things happened to men and to the boys and the girls. It was just, yeah, that was a way of the bullies asserting their dominance, and yeah, it was bad.
Damn, ours is all like mental.
Is it?
Because we're means with words and online, but it was never physical. Like only a few times I could like remember. It's probably times I had like forgot, but I remember it was all just like either online in the comments of your Instagram or just like saying stuff. Because the
That's
anti-bullying movement was like happening when I was growing up.
that's at least like one reprieve that I think that probably my generation and Chris's had was when I left school. That was it, right? I could go home and like the reach ended at school, right?
Mm.
And like the whole like mental thing, I can't even imagine like the pressure that kids have today to engage on social media. But then it's like you go home, like you can never leave, like your Facebook account and Instagram, and TikTok don't close down when you leave
Mm-mm.
school. It's like that 24/7 bullying. Like I can't even imagine like getting that today. Like I would have cracked. It would have been insane to be bullied by those kids 24/7. That's nuts.
Yeah, people would make like fake accounts, or it's like your school's name, like couples, or your school's name, like ugliest person and stuff like that. Like kids would do that, and then but
Jeez.
funny enough, what I would do is I would message them sending like, I have proof this is you, but it was an IP logger. And back then, Instagram didn't like reroute like the packets or something. So like it would go straight. I could like take their IP address, put it into like IP Finder, and like find out where they are generally. And so sometimes like there was one time where I knew it was someone because they were like open enrolled and they lived like really far away. I was like, oh, okay, that's you. So yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, middle school was wild when Instagram was like going up for us.
Yeah,
I will say,
I
go
finally bucked my bullies in 10th grade. So I started doing like dragon boating, which if you're not familiar with, essentially like 20 people in a boat. You like sort of row down. And I got like pretty huge. Like I got like pretty strong and everything. And like finally it was like I was like, I had 60 pounds on like my bullies. And it's like they finally like I literally remember like this pivotal moment where we were in gym class, and they're doing the tests for like fitness, and you have to do pull-ups. And it's like I see like this kid who's been bullying me for like 5 years at this point, and he gets up there and he can do like one, and he like literally makes a jab at me that like he's like, oh, try and even do one, and I did like 25 or something pull-ups.
Ooh.
And he just like I swear to God, that was the day he never bullied me again, ever again. It's like that
There you
was
go,
it.
Ben.
Yeah, right.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that story.
Dang,
Well, I
that's
know-
cool.
Well, I think we all have kind of a same story there about middle school or high school where we kind of turn things around, because I know this is hard to believe, but uh, I became really good at band, and that was my thing. And by like eighth or ninth grade, that was, for some reason, that was cool. I was kind of like king of the nerds. I know that sounds really dumb being a band geek, but it was like there was the band people, and I was one of the top band people. So that was like I had my people.
Yeah, that's funny. Because like I actually got bullied, Elmine, you'll find this funny. I got bullied for playing video games. For playing computer games.
What?
Yes. Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. I was too nerdy, too niche, right? It was like, oh, you play video games on the computer? That's weird. Ugh. You're on the internet? What? And then it was like, 5 years later, everyone plays video games on the computer. Everyone's on the internet. But absolutely, I got bullied for being nerdy.
That's crazy.
Wow, I did in elementary school, and then like middle school when it was really popular to play Call of Duty and stuff, and I was pretty good at this game. Not to brag. Kids would invite me, like the popular kids, like they still weren't like in high school and stuff. They would invite you to like CS:GO lobbies, and like this is when I switched schools, so I wasn't like popular. So these were popular kids. Okay, so I'll try really hard. I do really good, and then like they don't talk to me at school, like that might exist. They would like play with me, and I thought like maybe one day they'd be my friends. So carried a lot of CS:GO games.
So I'll go a little bit more positive note. So like my favorite teacher, to turn this back around, my favorite teacher was my sixth grade teacher. I still remember her name, of course. And it actually contends with my 10th grade teacher, who was also great. But sixth grade, I was, being bullied. I was poor. I had just moved to this new school. And she like must have recognized it. 'Cause she like plucked me out and like forced me to kind of like be popular, at least for that year. I tried my best to like get off that pedestal, and like just be a nobody, but she was like, she would place me up on there, in front of the class. And I was always like being voluntold, to do all these things. And yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like it was good for me, so like she was perfect in that way. But like we read, Harry Potter, like the first Harry Potter book had just come out, and like she had like me like be Harry Potter like in the class, and everything. And it was just like, I just remember her name was Miss Melcher, and she was like she just like basically took me under her wing for that entire year, and like kind of like, I don't know, protected me, I guess, at school, which was super super nice and cool.
Yeah, I had a couple of really my favorite teachers. I think the most pivotal one was, oh my god, I forgot his name, Mr. Something, and he was my middle school. Then it was computer class. It was still like typing pretty much, but I would like beg him every single day, like, can I do programming class? Can I do programming stuff? Like, look, I can type really fast. I'm like the fastest typer. And he would let me use like Scratch and like code.org. So that's when I really first started like coding heavily, not just like elementary school when I would like follow videos. And so he recommended me to go to Code Day, which is like a 24-hour event for like K through 12 or not K through 12, like 6 through 12, to make like a video game in like 24 hours. You'd like camp out in like some like office building that would like volunteer their space. And that's where I went there and met some other like really dorky sixth graders from other elementary school or middle schools, and we like became friends on Steam and stuff. But that group there, we actually won and made the best game overall in Scratch of all things. I actually still have it, so I could like send it to you guys. But it was that was like really cool. I think he was my favorite because he changed like my trajectory too. Same with another high school programming teacher, because his was more about like school to work, so he like was more like for like business connections and stuff. So that was really cool. Those two guys.
Cool. Yeah, I think mine was a fourth grade teacher. In the middle of all that bullying going on, I was mentioning, she lifted me up and made me feel like I was worth something, and took an interest in me. And helped me in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, she was the one.
Was she actually like a subject teacher for you, or just another teacher at the school?
We didn't really have subject teachers in elementary, so it was. I mean, well, I guess PE, maybe band, but she was my fourth grade teacher. She was my fourth grade.
I see.
Teacher.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. So she covered.
That's really cool.
Everything. Yeah.
Do you guys ever go back and like tell them?
I actually have contemplated it, and honestly, like this episode's making me like feel like I kind of need to, a little bit. But I have like looked her up like on Facebook a few times and stuff. But yeah, honestly, I probably should. But I don't even know if you know me, but hey, we'll give it a shot, right? So
yeah, I've talked to mine on Facebook, but I haven't told her that, and I probably should.
I was actually going to do it a senior year, but like COVID happened, so like totally forgot about it. And I still need to go back and like just at least message them on like LinkedIn or something. Like just I feel like all teachers kind of like I always hear like that's like their favorite moments throughout their career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another like I guess fun thing to make it even more fun rather than like joyful and stuff. Or do you guys have any like cool fashion trends throughout the years? Like what were your guys' generations? Because I kind of have an idea based on like culture stuff. Like Ben, your generation was the goofiest. You're like long athletic shorts and stuff. Oh, Chris, I gotta remember, but like culture wise or like media wise portraying your guys' generations was like, this very distinct. You guys all were the same.
The thing I remember envying most was highlights like in hair. So I had kind of like that boyish long hair, and I remember begging my mom constantly for highlights, and we were poor, but like that was like the thing. You get like tips, and stuff where the last inch or something was blonde and I had brown hair, and it was like I remember wanting it so bad that my mom, again trying to save money, literally, I don't know, had heard that like if you just apply bleach to your hair, it will like change it blonde. And it actually turned my entire head red.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, what?
I was a redhead for like 8 months. It's really funny.
That's crazy. Were you just like super? What was your reaction to that?
Oh, I played into it because like I was like 15 or 16 at this point, and like all the other, like I hit puberty super early, so everyone thought that like I was actually older than my brother Jim, who's a year and a half older than me, and like I had a full grown beard, just like I do now, like a full beard when I was like 13.
Oh wow!
And so like I like owned it, it was sort of like part of my fake identity that I could kind of be popular with. It was like, oh, I was like Irish, and so like for like 8 months it was like, I'd wear like green and stuff and like totally act Irish.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
hilarious.
Did you put an accent on?
Oh no, not that cringe.
You didn't go full Irish.
Yeah, probably at least a little bit cringe, but not that cringe.
Oh my god!
Well, one thing I can remember from the 80s was that the brand of jeans was critically important. I don't know if it was like this for you guys, but like especially mostly for the girls. But it's like if you did, there were name brand jeans that you had to have, and if you weren't one of the kids that was wearing those, you were in that lower tier. If you didn't have Jordache or whatever it was, that was a huge thing.
Yeah, ours there was a lot of fashion trends for my generation, just due to like social media and like fashion cycles increasing more and more, especially towards like high school. It was like with these like fast fashion brands, it was changing every like 3 months, 2 months. But it was like if you were a Champion and like Puma and Reebok, you were like poor and like made fun of. Or and it was
Wow.
like Nike with like Nike Elite socks, and you'd wear like your Kobe 4s or like neon green with like khaki joggers and stuff, and like a Nike shirt that was like just do it, or like this game doesn't end or something like that. Those like stupid lines. But now it's flipped where it's like it's really cool if you have like that vintage champion, aka it used to be at Walmart for like $5 and now it's like back on their website for 60.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was that thing. That was cool. But
Nice.
I remember towards the end of high school, it was like streetwear, so like brands like Supreme and stuff, and it was like you got to go online at like 9:15 on Thursday a.m. and like in the middle of class, and you have to keep refreshing the website because everything will sell out in like 5 minutes. And so I remember buying some of those, and looking back on it, it's kind of cringy what they were, but yeah, no, totally own that.
Yeah, the last thing I remember, and I don't even think it was that popular, but the last thing I remember, so it was the Matrix, was kind of a cultural, I don't know, thing, pretty big thing, at least like at the kid level. I have no idea how it kind of flowed through the adult life. Maybe Chris can add some color there, but like at least there was this one kid who wore, if you're unfamiliar with the Matrix, basically they wear all black. It's all very androgynous, so like there's no like male or femaleness. It's sort of just like black, smooth,
Trench coat
type of stuff. And this kid wore shades and a trench coat. I'm not even joking. Every day,
wow,
for 4 years. Not even every day for 4 years. I mean, he'd wear shades in a trench coat in class.
Wow.
Every day.
Oh, I have a question. When you're done, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so this is gonna get a little sad. But was this like pre or before or after like Columbine stuff? What year was this?
Oh, this is 2003, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, because when kids wore trench coats and stuff, like kids would make fun of him and be like, "Yeah, that kid's gonna be like a school shooter. Like, don't talk to him. Like, make sure you're nice to him, otherwise he's gonna." So I don't know if it was the same like before or after that, but like, yeah, I remember wearing a trench coat was just like a sign that completely like exile yourself.
Yeah, I mean, this kid, he was very, just different. He was definitely like on the margins type of personality. He really hated, any sort of social interaction. He had a very like he did have like a clique.
So it was
he did have a right. He did have like a clique of kids that he hung out with, which was great. But definitely he got made fun of, and it was a tragedy because of it. So yeah.
What's like? You guys have any songs from like? Give me a song from elementary, middle school, and high school.
I was again super weird, super on the margins. Didn't have friends because we moved so much, and most of my music honestly came from like my older brothers. So we listened to like a lot of Metallica, like 80s Metallica, and Nirvana, like that type of stuff when I got into high school and stuff like that. Green Day,
some grunge.
It was basically like 90s 2000. It was pop rock at the time, and but also there was a lot of like video game music too, because again I was super into video games, and it was nostalgic to kind of listen to that. I still listen to that same stuff today. I don't listen to Metallica really that much anymore, but definitely still listen to basically all the video game stuff. So not a very satisfying answer. Maybe a little.
No, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So the people who know.
Yeah, right. Right.
For me, elementary school was like songs like "Baby" like Justin Bieber. Bruno Mars was popping at the time. Maroon 5. CeeLo Green. We sang that you could like sing a song in class, and a few girls for music class sang that song, but they like did a thing where it was like, and F you too, but instead of saying that was like, and you too, and everyone was like, oh, that's so cool. Like you guys like didn't say a curse word. I remember that was vivid. Like people were like, holy smokes, you did not say a curse word. That's so cool. Middle school, this is when I was like really into like PC gaming stuff. So it was a lot of like EDM or like, oh my god, Fairlegs or like dubstep stuff. And then high school was really cool about thing like Spotify and like all these music platforms were like growing at the time. So people really got their like own niche music stuff. So like you had, like indie and stuff, and people were like, people were a lot more like represented their musics, and like you could like really listen to everyone's music. But a lot of rap music for me, underground rap stuff. So like it was really cool to like easily like find your niche rather than like checking a bunch of albums. I could listen to like rappers in like Sweden and stuff.
Wow, that's crazy. Unfortunately, I was very back then. This is before the internet. It's before file sharing, any of that kind of stuff. No MP3 players, so I was pretty much at my parents'. Uh, whatever they were listening to is what I had. That's all I had access to. And then when I got to be a teenager, I had an uncle who was really into music, and he would illegally copy off his recordings to give to me on cassette, and then I listened to those. But most of those, it's what we would call now yacht rock, which is embarrassing. But that was
no, I like yacht rock. You're good. You're good.
Most of it was yacht rock, and we had we had a lot of Eagles, had a lot of Steely Dan. Dan Fogelberg was a huge one for me. There was Fleetwood Mac, all that kind of stuff. Mostly what my parents and my uncle listened to is what I had access to. But then when I had a job and I started to make a little bit of money, there was this thing back then called a record club. You guys probably have never heard anything like this, but I subscribed to this thing called Columbia House. And basically you got they used to have these little advertisements. They were everywhere. They were like, you could get like 3 of them out of every magazine you found in the barbershop or whatever. They were just these, it was sort of like America Online CDs that were back in the 90s. And you would tape a penny to the corner and pick like 15 SKU numbers or whatever from their catalog and mail this in. And then they would send you 15 tapes back that you had selected. And then the catch was that every month you had to buy so many from that point on at full price, which was ridiculous. But that was really how I started to get into more kinds of music and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna amend my answer slightly. The one thing I do remember happening in the music world, and of which I was not a part of really, because I was not really into that, but I remember the Backstreet Boys and the NSYNC wars. Like I remember girls in my school like almost getting into like fist fights over like who was better, like what songs were better. Just absolutely ridiculous for 5th and 6th graders, to do such a thing. But I remember that like people like yelling at each other on the bus about it. That's it. It was super weird. So that's it. But yeah, largely it was like I inherited my older brother's like CDs, which was Metallica and stuff like that. And then we'd pop them into our computers and play them while we were playing EverQuest or something like that. And then we'd play games at the time also like, would have their MP3s like just on the CDs themselves. So we'd like pop like the Half-Life CD in and listen to that. And then we discovered like LimeWire, and stuff like that. And then, the whole
But
like,
you never used it. You never used it though.
No, I'll own that. I'll own that. So yeah, we use like LimeWire, and the 1% of things you get off there that were not complete viruses, like then you would, after you had reinstalled your operating system, then you would play those as well. So the one thing I do remember is you would like kind of similar to Chris's, you'd get like these cassette tapes, but we did CDs instead, and like people would put their songs on there, and you'd pass like CDs around to all your friends and everything. But yeah.
I used to sell, and I never. Oh, I never ever sold. Hypothetically, if I were to sell illegal copies of video games and stuff to kids for a few bucks, hypothetically, how I would do it would be like the Pirate Bay, and you just search up whatever games popular at the time, and like sometimes it would come like pre-cracked, and those were the ones you could sell. So I remember selling that to kids to get some cash, so like using the vending machines. But leading to one of the questions that I prepared: video games throughout K through 12. What was it for you guys? Like, I think it's the question that I'm like most excited for.
Well,
Just go up the grades and tell me what it was.
I didn't see a video game until probably 7th grade, maybe, when I saw an Atari for the first time in Sears, and there were like 30 kids surrounding this little tiny TV playing Atari, the original Atari. So I didn't really have a lot of exposure to that. The big thing for us was arcades. That's where you went to play video games, because nobody had them when I was growing up. Nobody had them in their home, really. So you had to go and beg for quarters and go play Pac-Man, Asteroids, Defender. Those were the 3 big ones for me.
And try not to lose to save your coins.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like I don't even know. I guess I don't. My whole spiel with video games like goes back basically as long as I can remember. So like, yeah, I don't, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the amount of video games that I did play. All I really remember as a kid was always being the kid that no one wanted to play video games with because I was so good at them that like like I was always the kid playing video games when like before
times
the
haven't
party
changed much.
Yeah, right.
I'm just kidding.
And so that was like sort of I'd go over to people's houses, and get on their N64 or something, and we'd play Smash Brothers. And this was back when the game was very simple and I was okay, pretty good at it. But like we'd get on there and I'd just like murder everybody. And obviously the tables have turned now, but back then, yeah, it was like that.
What was it like? You said EverQuest. Like, was that like in high school?
That was when I was 9. So that was, that was, I don't know, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 4th grade. Yeah, it had to have been 4th grade when I first started. And it was, that was, I was way too young to be playing it, but my oldest brother was playing it. And we like would play on his account, and it was subscription based. And this was another point of being made fun of, is like, you basically play this game online, like you're paying this game was already $60, and then you have to pay $15 a month to continue playing it, which was like just insanity.
That's crazy.
At the time, in 1999. So
did you ever see the documentary about EverQuest?
I don't think so. Maybe
I'll send it to you after this. But
all right.
For me, oh man, video games were like my thing. So one of the earliest ones I can remember were like the ones you'd buy from like Dollar General, and they're like plug and play with 150 games. So like some Atari games, like any ones, but like all the versions of like where you had like a spaceship in the sky. I think the ones that they had were like off-branded ones, but and then it went on to the Wii and PS3. So like Super Mario Bros, Ducks or Goose Squad. I remember that one. It was really fun. Mario Kart, like those games, Wii Sports. For the PS3, it was like Mafia 2, Modern Warfare 2 is when I first started getting like public lobbies and like learned some bad words. But like those early lobbies are wild, and that was really fun. That's where I really got into like competitive video games. And it was mostly just like Call of Duty all the way up to like middle school time, where I got like a laptop, and it was like Gary's Mod and Counter-Strike. CSGO was so cool to me because like you could trade skins, and then you could gamble these skins online, and I would end up amassing a few $100s and then losing it all and then doing it back again by trading and stuff. But that was crazy. I don't know if you guys ever had like gambling while you were in middle school. That was very popular. Very popular.
So I'm curious. So when you were playing all these games, were your parents?
They hated it.
I wonder. Okay, that's what I wondered. I wondered what their reaction was. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Since more video games I played, the less I did in school. Grades showcase that. Always getting grounded, and rather than like they like once like took my PS3 power cable, but it was the same as my monitor power cable, and I played the PS3 on the TV, so I would still have a power cable, and then no, I was still playing it. And yeah, they hated it, and then until like high school came along, I got like my internship in high school and stuff, and they were like, "Oh wait, he's actually like good at computer stuff. Well, let him be. Like, there's actually a field in this." And I would like always show them, but like, hey, like being a game developer is an actual job. Like, this is a real job. Like, think about it. Like, they're sold in stores for a lot of money. Like, it's a job. And so I remember that. Yeah, a lot of CS:GO, and then high school. Oh my god, League of Legends. That was the worst choice of my life to play League of Legends. Hundreds of hours wasted on that game. But yeah, video games was like, I don't know, such a core part of like K through 12. Like when I think of that time, it's like coming home like after school, running off the bus to go play games until my parents got home, and then like pretend I'm studying.
Yeah, it's so crazy because, like I said, I didn't even know really what they were until I was in junior high and didn't have really access to play one in my home until I was like 16. And so I think that really shows too, because when we get together and play games, it's just like I am just totally like I don't have the motor skills, I don't have the any of the the skills you need to play those things because I don't get it.
It came at a cost, Chris. I can't throw a ball or like shoot a basketball well or hit a golf club well. So the motor skills came at a cost, but I can play video games.
Yeah, it's so funny because like in mine it was like I would like blow kids out of the water, and then today I don't feel like I've gotten that rusty, but like the kids these days, like the El Means coming out of these, it's like y'all just like like it's sort of like that Batman meme where it was like you think you were you think you were part of the darkness, like I was born in the darkness, like that's you guys, like it is insane. Like you guys' skill levels in this stuff, and it's like
you can make a living off it, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy because it's like I remember, when I was 9 and 10, like just absolutely schooling kids in Half-Life and Super Smash Brothers, and just constantly I was always on top. And then I I play with you guys in these games, and it's like I'm like the guy that everyone's raging at nowadays. It's like, get out of here, Grandpa.
Oh man.
Now you know how I feel every day.
But yeah, for me, it was mostly, I kind of took like a really weird track because it was mostly MMOs. It was the EverQuest. There was a Star Wars Online, and then it was like World of Warcraft. Basically, I hit 14. World of Warcraft came out November 8th of 2004, and literally I'm not even joking, like the entire world changed. Like I'm not understating it. Everybody in every single MMO other than World of Warcraft, like died on that day. I'm not even joking. Everyone played World of Warcraft for 2-3 years. It was insanity.
Wow, that's so cool. I automatically think World of Warcraft when you said the world changed. South Park when they did a World of Warcraft episode, so good.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that I know about World of Warcraft is from the South Park episode.
Yeah, finally, when World of Warcraft came out, like other kids at my school like played it, and like I had been playing MMOs, for like 6 years at that point, and it was like I was like. It coincides with like me like gaining popularity. It was like all of a sudden it was like I was like kind of cool because I knew
you had gold.
Like I knew everything about these games, So
what was your Horde or the Alliance?
I played a dwarf hunter, and I actually played a dwarf warrior in EverQuest. And this dwarf, I don't know why I love dwarves, but like I've always played a dwarf too. Like if there's a dwarf available, I will play it. So
yeah,
I don't know why.
Remember, I really wanted World of Warcraft, but could never get my parents to pay for the subscription. So and like middle school, like 8th grade, I remember playing on a private server of like Classic WoW. So I always have played Classic WoW, so that was really cool. But yeah, the kids nowadays, like ever since Fortnite dropped that, like every single Friday, no matter how, like if you're 13 or older, you can win cash, and like you just put your parents' PayPal in, and we'll pay them if you like win. So ever since then, it's like esports, like all these games, like you just kind of have to be correct at, because like otherwise you're just gonna get dominated in these lobbies.